Brother
Guru!
B.Dot.
Unleash the flutes on him, Guru!
No flutes.
How you doing, Guru?
I'm good, my brother. How you, man? Good to see you.
You know me, like I keep telling people, I'm in album mode right now, so that's why.
It's all good, brother. So I had to break down like a couple weeks ago and get a cut, but I'm about to get another one, man. I can't, I'm not with a whole bunch of other stuff with the flashy, but the cut thing, I gotta have a cut, bro. I got to.
Who cut your hair, Rex Mills?
Yeah. Nah, don't even bring that name up on my live, man. Please, don't do that. Please.
Well, Guru, man, I know you're a busy guy, man, and again, thank you for participating this week on Artifacts. For people that don't know, you are engineer, producer, DJ extraordinaire. Started out with Nonchalant back in like 93?
96. 96 was Nonchalant single. Yep.
Stressed Out, right?
No, well, Stressed Out was the it was 5 o'clock was the first single.
5 o'clock.
To the Day was the second single.
Gotcha. 5
o'clock. 5 o'clock was the big record that took us around the world. And then, we lucked up and got on the Fuji tour in 96. So we did the whole European tour with them like 3 months. That was my first like real big tour.
Right. And since then you've broken out, become the engineer to everybody under the sun, the whole Roc-A-Fella camp, Rihanna, Beyonce. I mean, everybody who's anyone. If you make music, more than likely, Young Guru has touched your record, and if that's fair to say. And I know,
I've been blessed, man.
I know, and I can say it's fair to say, through this 20+ years journey, you've collected things that reflect your life and your career. So I figured, why not better to have someone like yourself on to show, to showcase some of those things.
Yeah, and the crazy part is, man, I wish I was home. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm out in LA. Because if I was home, like we could get deep into the just like I collect a lot of those things. A lot of the badges from over the years. That's one of my big things of like I really understood after I got off the Fuji tour. I was just like, man, like these sort of things are like monumental and special. You know what I mean? Like, so I started collecting the badges just to be like, I want to remember like all the shows I ever done. So that's sort of like my little thing is like, I pretty much got all the badges from every show, everything that I've ever done. All those little special moments.
All the laminates.
Yeah. I keep all of them. You know what I mean? And then I got one that's real special to me because I got it shooting sound set. So I got a press badge, right? And that's like my first like real press badge where you can't say nothing to me. I could be in the pit and like that whole thing. So that was special. You know what I mean? Because I got a million artist badges, but the press badge was like super special to me.
The laminates. I collect some of the laminates too. Which one is like, I know you just said that one, but is anyone else that sticks out in your mind from one of those tours?
Trying to think, man. Which ones? The 2010 Australia tour was super special. When we did 30 days over there where we did Australia and New Zealand, but we was opening up for U2, right?
Wow.
So Live Nation and all that had put it together. So imagine Jay being the opening act, right? We only had an hour, and then U2 was the closer. So it was almost like a paid vacation because we was out there for a month, but we only did shows on Friday and Saturday. So it'd be like, spend 1 week in a city and then do the Friday and Saturday show or whatever it was. And then we go to another city and spend a week there and then do a Friday, Saturday, and then go to, you know what I mean? So we did, 1 week in New Zealand and then we hit all the major cities in Australia. That was probably like that band and that time period and just the guys, like that thing of being with that crew, that band is incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, and I'm big on, I made a mistake at first, right? So when I first came on with Jay, if it's before then, and I'm saying 2010 was when he pulled me in to be like, yo, DJ for me, right? So I'm used to like, if Jay called me, I might be on a plane with him or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm used to being in the A group, right?
Right.
So I quickly understood like I needed to move to the B group, which meant traveling with the band because it's like, now there are things like edits, last minute things. You know how Jay worked. He made. We've been in shows where like we was recording one place and we fly into the show or whatever, right? And then we had to go from like take a helicopter to where the show's at, and it started raining. So he's like, "Yo, go. We're gonna open the show with Purple Rain." You know what I'm saying? Like he'll just throw like audibles at you. So I need to be able to do that along with Omar and the rest of the band where we can just I'm in charge, not in charge, but I'm concerned about the music. So it's just like while we on tour, everybody's taking care of all this other stuff, but I'm concerned about the band, the music, how it sounds. That's my concentration. So I'm saying that to say it made it so fun because once you be like, all right, I'm gonna be on the tour bus with the band and with everybody else. Number one, I get to do my after parties, right? Because you know, homeboy, he be out like. So I got to stay around, be able to do my after. So I started asking the band. I'm like, yo, do y'all mind if the bus stays, you know, till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning before we go to the next spot? And the whole band was like, perfect. Like, yeah, you basically asking us to come drink somebody liquor for free, like after the show. We like, all right, cool. So the band would do that and grant me that. So then I felt bad because I'm like, yo, I'm holding everybody up. So then I got to a point where I was like, hold on, talk to the promoters and let it say hosted by the Rock Boys. So then they could get paid. I'm like, yo, it's not going to be an incredible amount of paper, but it's going to be an extra couple $1,000s at the end. You know what I mean? That you can add on to the money that you made on this tour just for coming and, you know what I mean, hosting the party, like drink somebody else's liquor, basically. Right. Yeah. So that experience to me, that's why that badge means so much. That, you know, those laminates that we had, 2010 was just amazing. Like we was on Blueprint 3 and just being out there for that long, you know what I mean? Yeah. After we had already toured Europe and the United States and everything, and going over there was crazy. It was That's beautiful.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
But even though you're not home, I know you're in LA. Do you have anything on you right now that we can show?
You said a badge? Do I got one on me?
Anything from your journey, Blue?
Oh man,
I know you do have that Roc-A-Fella chain. Is that what I'm seeing right now?
My chain is actually getting clean right now. That's crazy. I'm trying to think of what I could show you that's kind of like some Roc-A-Fella like thing. Oh man. I'll think of something. I'll figure out something in here. Yeah. I just been on my books, B.Dot. I've been on my books. I've been reading. I've been on my, you know, like my books, my photography, just plotting and planning because of the times that we in. You know, it's weird too because I keep my plaques like in a basement too. I would have pulled out all the plaques. I don't really hang my plaques, right? I have the one big Roc-A-Fella plaque that I hang up, but other than that, I don't really hang on my plaques. I don't even go to get them because it makes me feel like I'm lazy. You know what I mean? I don't want to look at I don't want to look at the things I did before. Like, and that's not a you know, it's not a thing of me not appreciating it. It's just a thing of I'm trying to make the music that's going to get a plaque for tomorrow.
Gotcha.
So if I constantly look at what I did, it's like, oh, well, I did that already. You know what I mean? So you don't want to lose the hunger. So for me, the plaque is like, it's like a trophy. You know what I mean? It's just something that you just look at to be like, oh, I did that thing. I won that championship or I won that game or whatever, you know. But it's not the core of what I do. I do it for the music, and I do it because I love music and love technology and like to, you know, further myself with what's going on and always staying up to date. I think is something that helped me a lot in my career. You know what I mean? Like staying up to date with the technology, staying up to date with the sound and the way that things move in the music. You know, like that's one of my biggest things is just to always be at that forefront.
Right. I know you also do the photography thing. A lot of people saying, yo, you got this specific camera.
Oh yeah, my Leicas. Yeah. Always, the Leica's always next to me, bro. So it's a specific company, and that's the reason why Leica shooters are the way that they are, right? It's almost like we are in this thing where everybody appreciates how ill the design of the camera is. So for me, I've been doing most of my film stuff on this, right? It's my Leica M6. But just really getting into the history of the company, the history of how much protest has been documented using this camera, right? Like all the famous pictures that you see of Martin Luther King, the famous Che Guevara, you know, thing that's on every shirt. Like all of those photos are through this particular company. And just the history of it, and not only just for the black struggle, but just struggle around the world has been documented, you know, using this camera. There's no autofocus. There's no, you know, it's all manual. It's all, you know, all prime lenses, like all of that. I don't use zoom, like my feed is my zoom, you know, like that sort of thing. It's just a devotion to a certain way of shooting that allows you to really understand your shot versus like trying to go document something and just take 1,000 shots real quick and hope you get something. Like I'm framing the picture. I'm, you know, thinking of the scenario, or like I probably took the best photo of you ever in your life. You must admit that at the Rock Nation brunch.
Yes, I was about to ask you. Was it off that camera?
That was on a Leica Q. That is the same company. It's the same company, but the digital version. This is my this right here is my film camera. But I got basically all the different ones. So that one was like, I know I'll be at the brunch, and I'm trying to look at the situation. At first, I normally do it in black and white, but because it was so colorful in there, I was like, nah, I got to do it in color. And then it was like catching people in the right sunlight as the sun's moving, like trying to, it's just dope things about like trying to match the color of your drink with what's going on in the background and like all those other things that people may not notice, but I notice them. You know what I mean? So as all these people are gathering and have a conversation, it's about like trying to be able to take the shot without interrupting the flow of what's going on, right? You don't want to be like, when I'm doing it, I'm not paparazzi, almost to the degree where you saw, like, I was trying to walk over and take this picture of Puff one time, and the security guard came up to me like trying to wild on me, right? Like,
I was like, yo, they trying to hem you up, guru. I was like, yo, this nigga's crazy.
But we get into, you know, photographers get into those things because it's like people don't understand that I'm practicing my art, but I'm not one of those guys in there that look like I'm supposed to be a photographer. I'm like just with my camera. So I understand those situations. And then again, it's like me being around the world, bro, I've learned how to diffuse situations like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a way of still maintaining your respect, but you diffuse situations. You know how to move outside of just this country, just in the world, and how you're supposed to handle things like that. And then you see, once I explained to homie, because all of y'all saw the argument, and then you see after I talked to homie, he was like, oh, okay. And then Puff came over, like, nah, that's good. You know what I mean? But homie was cool after that, but it was off the conversation we had. So the thing of diffuse, I've been in those situations, B.Dot, like, you know, I'm DJing anywhere in the world. You know what I mean? United States, Africa, Europe, it don't matter. The situation is sort of the same. So it's just like, I've been there where the promoter comes in and just wipes everybody out of a VIP and be like, nah, that's good. And I'm like, whoa, hold up. Let them sit there. I don't roll with 10 people. I got one person here with me. You know what I'm saying? My manager, like, he's cool. Sit down. Y'all can have the bottles that we got bottles for you. Okay, all right, well, give me one. Give them the rest of the spread. Right? Whereas if you come at that from a different situation where you like, yeah, get them the fuck out of here. But now you made an enemy, right? This person is like, yo, who he think he is, right? It's all in how you come. But if you do it the way I'm saying, that person gonna lead a club like, yo, Goo is my man. You don't know, we was in there, he gave me the bottle. And now you got an ally in that. You know what I'm saying? I've been in those situations a million times, bro. So it's you not it's you diffusing the situation, but not having your ego take you to this place where you like, yeah, I'm the person of the night. It's like, nah, bro, these people paid money to come here, you spend. You know what I mean? It's a real easy transaction. You pay me my money, I come do your party, that's it. I'm not fucking up the hotel. I'm not coming with, you know what I mean, 20 people that you got to deal with, that they beating up the, you know, whoever's in there. I'm not doing none of that. This is my business. So I treat it as such. And then that's one of the keys to people asking for you back. Like, okay, I've been dealing with the same promoters for years and years and years and years. I'm loyal to them. They loyal to me. Okay, go. I'm gonna get you in here. You know, I brought you to do this one club. Since he paid for the flight for me to go wherever, now I could do the underground joint the next day. It may be less money, but it's like I'm already there. You know, like, so you learn how to work that certain thing. And then, of course, it's like your big reward is, okay, now it's Jay-Z tour time. So you're going to have to pay that money to have the after party with my name on it during the Jay-Z tour. It's just how it works. You know what I mean? So that's just a great, so I try to give that to the promoters that I've been working with over the years. And then also, like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more cost, but I'm not hitting you over the head like somebody I don't know, or like you haven't given me business for the past 10 years. You know, like,
So, Guru, when you talked about the photography, do you print some of your pictures out, or do you have them all like on a computer?
I very rarely have done prints, and that's something I'm getting into. My homeboy, Steven Van Esco, Van Styles, he's big on that. Like, yo, you got to print your work. So it's always been something for me, B.Dot. People for years, and I get it. I get it almost every day. People are like, yo, when you going to do a book? When you going to do prints? When you going to sell the print? And it was a long thing for me of photography is my art that I practice from a pure place, right? And I'm saying this with the background that people should understand. I participate in another art that I sell, which is music. So I have to play the game of music, right? And the game of music is something that a lot of artists don't really like. Right, that's the part where you go, oh man, fuck the record labels and da-da-da-da. Where it's just like, for me, I look at it like, in order for me to do something I love, then I'm willing to play the game of business, right? If it's me doing something I love, I'm not picking up cinder blocks, you know what I'm saying, which I've done. I'm not standing, you know what I mean, at the front desk of a Marriott hotel in DC, which I've done. You know what I mean? I'm not rapping, you know, old National Geographics downtown at the Smithsonian after they put them on microfiche for a summer. I've done that. You know what I mean? I'm making music. Like, this is a beautiful thing. So if you got to deal with a little bit of like, okay, now I got to go deal with the wax side of the music business, I'm willing to do that. So I'm saying that to say, as a precursor to my photography, was something where I was like, yo, I don't got to play the photographer magazine game. I'm not out here like begging y'all to put my images nowhere. I don't care. Like, that's not why I do it. So with me not playing that game, it's allowed me to be free in what I choose to photograph. But I do understand, as we learning, we growing. As I get better and get more mature, and that's another thing. It's the Beanie Siegel line where he's like, "Give me a second, my style is yet perfected." You know what I mean? But when it is, so I'm learning. You know what I mean? I'm getting a perspective on what I want my voice to be specifically, so that the book is themed out, or so that certain prints mean something. That's a bigger thing to me than like how much did you sell it for, or it would have to come through something that I trust. You know what I mean? I would do something if Swiss says, yo, Goo, do no commission this year. You know what I mean? I would do it that way because if Swiss is my brother, I trust him. Like that sort of thing. But you know, it comes into that thing that we all been talking about, which is like, if we really get into these words of like systemic racism and what that sort of means and all those sort of things, we have to watch where that permeates everywhere in our life, right? So people, it's weird, but people start, these catchphrases catch on because the internet is going to use these same phrases over and over and over again. And a lot of the concentration is just on that in terms of police brutality, which is the main topic. But I'm like, if we're going to have a full conversation about this, we're going to have to get into where this permeates all walks of life. And that's a deep conversation that people don't want to get into. You know what I mean? Because in every facet of life, that thing dominates. So it's like, if you think about, you know, these things are educational things for me. So as I study photographers and I'm going back and I'm like, oh, well, this guy rocked and it was in the MoMA. And then you find out that there's one director for the MoMA that has chose all the art photography, right, during this whole period. I'm like, one person, one viewpoint controlled the photography in the MoMA for 30 plus years.
That's like, crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And this dude blatantly says, like, these is my people. I picked these 10 people. This is who I'm rocking with. This is who I'm making famous. These are the voices I want to amplify. It's like, yo, like, in the MoMA? Like, come on, man. Like, that's just one example. You know what I mean? So it's like those sort of things we can alleviate by creating our own spaces, by me not having to play the photography game. You know what I mean? That's the reason for it. But eventually I will start doing prints. I will do a book. I will put things out. I got ideas that I want to do that are specific projects that I'm gonna take time to do, but it's like I really wish I could split myself into like 4 or 5 different people. You know what I mean? Because I have so many things that are on my plate, and sometimes other things, I don't want to say are more important, but they're more they need to be done faster, or they need to be done sooner. So it's like, on the one hand, yes, I'm still actively, you know what I mean, recording and mixing all the time, and I do a bunch of work in that. Then I'm actively like picking where my specific voice is supposed to come at these times, right? And I'm not saying now, I'm saying previous years of like me saying, well, where am I going to put my voice? What are the things I'm going to do? So it's like, that's why I get involved with things like OHUB. This time period makes me say I need to amplify those messages even louder, right? And being one of those people that kind of like rejected social media at first and not really, you know, just getting on it because of work and being like, all right. And photography is really what got me on the gram. It's like, all right, I can show my photos on the gram. So learning how to utilize tools, because the tools sometimes, like Twitter turns me off, right? Like that's just, it's a weird thing for me. It really, you know what I mean? It's just me. I'm not saying I understand the power of it, right? And I don't want people to think I'm saying like Twitter's a bad thing. Like, Twitter is a positive thing of getting information out, but it's also a negative thing in not having full conversations, right? And not and
a lot of times things get lost in translation on that.
No. What it becomes is this what I call mental masturbation of people trying to one up each other with ill phrases. That's it. It's like okay, how can I say I got you in like 140 characters? Like that sort of thing annoys me, because I'm not that type of person to just come up with some type of axiom to really say, well, no, we got to take a deep dive. We got to have a 2-hour conversation. If me and you got a difference of opinion, I got to explain to you why I think this way. So I'm not going to just say my opinion is my opinion for no reason. I'm going to present you with the facts, or what I perceive to be facts, because truth is relative. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay, let me show you why I think this way. You may enlighten me. I may look at it a different way, but I refuse to just get into this like I'm gonna one up you with this little quick thing. But meaning to say that there are messages that I want to amplify. So it's like, again, me picking the lanes that I get into, like saying OHUB is like, okay, I want to deal with educating the next generation of programmers and coders and showing young kids of color, like, this is the game. This is what you got to get into. This is the things you need to know. What is the, again, systemic racism that appears in their world of trying to become a coder and break Silicon Valley? Why do we have to bow down to Silicon Valley? You know what I mean? Why can't it be in Atlanta? Why can't it be wherever? Like, those sort of things are things that I came into it like, let me learn, because I came into it from a music engineering standpoint. And then it's like, well, we're involved in that. That was the whole point of when I was doing the thing of Era the Engineer, which is still just a slogan that I love, right? Because it's sort of like everything is engineered. Everything has been built. Everything has been designed. So an engineer is involved in every facet of your life that you don't even think about. If the engineer is really good, you're not even thinking about the engineer. But he made the thing that works. So it's a new game of like, okay, well, coding is something that we haven't dominated, or we have been systematically left out for various reasons. So I'm like, all right, well, what are the reasons? And then people start giving me, answers. It's like, okay, well, I don't just accept just a answer. I just need to really get in and figure out why. So when you get beyond just the emotional part of it, you start to go, okay, we got to start making these accelerators for our children, right? People that don't know what accelerators are, it's like the spaces where you go to utilize what that accelerator has, the connections, the resources, all of those things to make your product, scale to market, right? And get to market and be able to have a first round, second round, third round, things like that. But you also get like all of the things that come along with that, right? And you only have to give up a small percentage of your company. So I'm like, all right. Me and Rodney start kicking it. Rodney Sampson is who runs OHUB. So I'm like, we start coming up with all these ideas of like, yo, how can we make our own accelerators? How can we, make these abandoned buildings in the hood into a community center where we could teach this? How can we incorporate, the kid coming, and if their mom want to come too, she could come. And what if the mom can't read? All right, we got to put it on, like every single step, every single barrier that's been put before us. How do we get to these points? That, and then explaining like the difference between the startup dream, right, and starting a small business, right? All of these things are things that I personally push, or things that I feel like I need to amplify more, or things that, I feel like I'm not doing enough, right? Or just simple things that I could do, where like showing the kids to not be embarrassed that you don't know something. So many times we get into contract situations, we get into negotiations where we simply don't understand the language. It's not that you don't have the mental capability to understand what's going on. You just don't understand the language. That's the same way if somebody doesn't work in radio or your job, and we go and we just throwing around terms like, well, what was the BDS last week? What was and me and you know what we're talking about, but somebody that may not be in our world don't understand what. And it's not that somebody can't understand spins. It's just they don't know what that means or the history of it. So I'm the person that goes, I'm not embarrassed. I start raising my hand. I'm like, yo, I don't know what that means. What is a 409? What is this? What is this? What is that? But like, I don't get it. And I had to have people explain it to me. So,
but you've been a teacher for a long time, Guru. And I'm sure in the studio and outside of the studio.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, your name is Guru.
But it's B.Dot. It's like, okay, well, if I'm finding that this is a problem, right? Like, just take that one example of this person is intimidated by this situation because of the language. Number one, I started, taking notes. Like I do this now. I just start taking notes and being like, all right, I'm gonna make videos explaining what all these ideas are and the definition of all these words, just so our kids can have a I was gonna call it VC language, right? I was just gonna call it like venture capitalist language. Like this is the language that you're going to hear if you want to become a venture capitalist and you want to make an app for, whatever, or if you want to, or just highlighting certain cool things where it's like, okay, if I push to you, we got a young brother like Delane Purnell, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, sure. Delane, that's the homie.
So why are we not the same way we highlight and like, yo, this person just got a $2 million record? It's like, yo, fam, do y'all realize this young black brother just raised $95 million for his company? Like,
Shouts to Lane.
Yeah, like, dude, like he's a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? I want my child to be like that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, I want that person to be like, yo, he come from the same situation you come from. He saw a play and was like, and not to you know what I mean, not to have a play on words, but his company's called Plaques. Yes, you know what I mean. But he saw a play, and for people that don't know, like he create, you know, the United States now we have sanctioned that there's going to be high school esports, right?
Yeah.
Basically, and college esports. Like, it may seem weird to people of my generation, but yes, your children, your grandchildren are going to get scholarships for going to school for playing video games, right? Like, they're going to get that. He created the platform. Why are we not amplifying that, showing kids his journey? You know what I mean? And that's I was like, in my small part, I could at least do something where I'm like, here's the verbiage, right? Here's the, like, and I just started writing down like what vesting is, and like, you know, like I said, what a 409A is, or like what the ESOP value means. Like, if you're in a meeting and somebody says the ESOP, and you like, okay, I can't even have the conversation because I don't know what that means. Right. You know what I mean? Like, all of these sort of, like, what is a convertible loan note? Like, or what is convertible debt? Or, you know, I'm just giving you examples of, like, writing these things down and then going, okay, well, here's the definition in our language and what that means. And you'd be surprised that, like, you already know the information. You know what I'm saying? If you can sell drugs, and not to use that same just example, but it's like, yo, you've already been through all of these situations. You've already thought of all these situations, but it just wasn't in your language. Right. So it's me breaking it down to the hood. You know, those are the type of things that I'm like concentrating on when people be like, yo, when you gonna put out a book? I'm like, photography is my like that is my joy. That's the thing I love to do. That's my relaxation. That's the thing where I'm like challenging myself in a new way. So it will come in time, but it's more pertinent things right now that I'm concentrating on.
Right. I know, like you said, you're in LA. I know you're not home where all your stuff is. I know you see your Roc-A-Fella chain is getting cleaned right now. I know you got some books right there. What are you reading right now?
A bunch of stuff, man. So Free Jazz is one of my. I'm jumping into this. Matter of fact, let me grab a bunch of these, man.
Some of the books before we get out of here. Artifacts with Guru.
My books is like my babies, man. Grab a couple. Some good ones. Here we go. These books is heavy though, bro. So one of the ones that's like my favorite is by one of my OGs, one of my mentors, Mary Baraka. It's called Digging.
Okay.
Like real monumental person in my life. His son was my college roommate. His oldest son is now the mayor of North New Jersey. Baraka. Yeah. So Mary Baraka is like super OG to me. Just revolutionary poet and revolutionary like jazz writer. Like his history of jazz is like, imagine if you were there when Africa Bambaataa came out to play and you were aware of what was happening. You know what I'm saying? So that's him at Mittens. You know what I'm saying? If you do the history of where B.Dot started, he's actually in that club on those nights. He was writing for certain jazz publications, and just basically imagine if you was writing for Rolling Stone and you came and said, yo, there's this new thing that they doing in the Bronx, yo, it's about, you know, like, and wow. You know, and people was like, what? Get it out of here. You know what I mean? But that's more because a lot of people get into his revolutionary writing, which is incredible, but some people skip over how deep he was in the jazz community. That's a dope one. This one is by the brother who I told you runs O-Hub. It's Rodney Sampson. It's called Kingnomics, right? It's a really good book for people to go get. What this deals with is King has so many books about the civil rights movement and so many books about his life. This book specifically is about the reason why Dr. Martin Luther King was killed, his economic plan.
Oh, yeah.
This is why he was killed right here. Dr. King's economic plan. His economic plan is this what this book is, and people need to really understand that is the reason why he was killed.
Like Jay said, you know, people die for equal pay, right?
Yeah, man. Like for real, like when it was, you know, I want to be able to drink from this water fountain and use this bathroom. It's like, all right, when you start fucking with the money, then it's like, all right, we got to really take him out of here.
Now you're going too far.
Yeah, now you messing with my money now. Yeah. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Those things are really good. Ready for Revolution is really good. It's not a life and times of Stokely Carmichael, you know what I'm saying? Or actually, I love when brothers change their names. So, of course, call him Kwame Ture, because that brother changed his name on purpose. But it's real good. in terms of things in his life and why he was doing the things that he was doing, right? So people need to understand and do the research and do. That's another thing. I'm gonna show some more books, but that's another thing that is a point that I'm trying to get across while we in this like hashtag and we keep saying these quick little phrases, right? And that was one thing that bothered me yesterday about the J. Cole thing, right? Because it was like,
who, the misogynist?
Now, and that thing is deep, and we could get into it from both perspectives. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, but one of the things that bothers me, and this is an overall point, was when people say do the reading, right, or do the work. We have to be more descriptive of what that means, because there's all types of work to be done. So there is no one thing of do the work, right? That's not, that phrase just does not make sense. It's all types of work that has to be done. Or when you say do the reading, like as if there was a black council that got together and said, okay, these is the books right here, now you woke. Like, it doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? It does not work that way. You could read from now to the end of your life and exhaust and not exhaust all the black literature that's ever been created, right? Then you really missing the point. If the point, this is my argument with academics sometimes, right? Where people will take what I'm saying and say, is Guru saying don't read? Of course I'm saying read. What I'm saying is that is step number one. So now the real step is to take what you read, evaluate it, come up with your value system, and then go implement and do something. What good is the reading if you don't use it? You understand what I'm saying? So we got to stop saying this, do the reading. Like we have to say, okay, I need you to educate yourself as much as possible, but I also need you to go out and use that education. You see what I'm saying? And there is no thing of, it's trying to dispel this thing of I'm smarter than you, I'm more educated than you, or I read a few books and I learned a few truths and now I'm gonna come out here and talk about who I'm blacker than. That is not like the point of what we're doing. You understand what I'm saying? Right. It's supposed to be like, okay, Google's concentrating on science and electronics and engineering and things in my lane. I'm gonna need somebody else to concentrate on health and something, you know what I mean? Like, not to say that I don't read books like that, but I'm saying the thing you concentrate on, the thing you become an expert on, the thing that you go out and speak on. There's too many people speaking without becoming an expert on that thing. It's okay to say, I don't know. I need to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my point with that thing of like, did the reading. There is no the reading. You understand what I'm saying? We all learning. Life is a constant learning process. I want you to read as much as possible, but I don't want you to get arrogant to the point where you like, I've done the reading. Like, what? Like, there is no the reading.
Right. What else you got? What other books you got? Go.
The Loneliest Monk. One of my favorites. Okay. One of my favorites of all time. If you're not aware of this man, he is probably one of the most interesting characters in jazz, and just like, he has a real ill life story, and there's also another ill story inside of there where it's almost similar. It's similar to things we've seen before, but it's just like you get the real ill story of a Rothschild girl leaving. The great joint is called the Jazz Baroness, right? So we get this story of a Rothschild girl who leaves the Rothschild like sort of legacy and family. It comes to New York, but she was influential with a bunch of like jazz people, and especially Thelonious. He wrote a bunch of jazz people wrote songs to her, but he wrote a bunch of songs to this woman while still be married to his wife. So it's like he's one of the most. If you don't know Thelonious Monk, he's one of the most interesting characters of just jazz in general. And then these are my these are my other books. Like I'm heavy into physics. Like physics is my hobby. Okay. So The Universe Within is a real dope book. It's a bunch of dope books that's out there. Michio Kaku is somebody that I read a lot. You know, I love him because he makes physics fun. Like, that's where my mind go, B.Dot. So you can understand, I'm the kid that was outside drinking a 40, but always reading a book. So that was normal. You know what I'm saying?
You was Sharif in Menace to Society.
Yeah, but I wasn't the dude that like basically tried, you know, the way Sharif was always like pushing it on his dudes, No, if you come and ask me questions, then I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, or I'm gonna tell you what this is. But I wasn't the one that was trying to be like, I gotta place my value system on you. You gotta. It's not gonna work until you discover these things for yourself. Now, I can teach. Now we're taught when we're young. Like this is me specifically, my specific teaching, that the duty of the civilized man is to teach the uncivilized. Your duty is to teach what you know to those that don't know, right? But I wasn't the person that was trying to force my ideologies onto anybody else, because I don't know what your life experience is like to make you think the way that you think. All I can do is present you what makes sense to me. And as long as it's easy. Where I draw the line is like, okay, as long as your ideology is not coming in direct consequence with my life. So I can look at white supremacy and say, yes, that ideology I'm a fight against, because that comes in direct opposition to my survival, right? But if I can't tell somebody like what their religion is or whatever, that I just got to show you what makes sense to me,
right? And that's
you know what I mean. I had to learn that, because it's like you'll drive yourself crazy trying to go, okay, well, this is the way I think. Why don't you think like that? Well, everybody's version of what common sense is not going to be the same.
That's fair. Guru, I know you're in LA. Do you have any equipment that you travel with, or is everything back here east?
Oh, nah. What the dope thing is like, I'll show y'all.
You can play some unreleased music if you want. This is our. I won't tell nobody.
Get me on that, bro. My Apollo is like, this is the trap. This is the workhorse, right? This Apollo has recorded Jay in so many places. Like, I'm telling you, like all over the world. This Apollo is the main bread and butter of what I use, right? This is, you plug the microphone, you plug the beat machine, whatever you need into that. Like, this is the main thing. And it's weird that this is all you need in today's day and time.
Really?
Like, but this right here is what I use. Let me see. I can flip this around.
And that's still available, right?
Oh yeah, no, they sell it. They sell it all over the place. This is like, you know, preamps, microphones, things that I use to record, like an ill compressor. You know, I'm always on my 45 game.
Okay.
A bunch of 45s I got. Don't show this to Just, but that's Justin's portable turntable that he forgot about. So I'm rocking with it.
You stole his killer tape?
So, you know, just all the stuff we use to make music, bro. That's what I do, man. Just like every day, I'm in here banging out beats. I'm in here doing mixes, you know, going to the studio, things like that. I just got the basic equipment I need to get done what I need to get done. But that's what normally travels with me.
How long are you staying out in LA for?
I'm bi-coastal now, bro.
Okay.
You're gonna be mad at me, but I'm coming out here.
Oh, man. Another one bites the dust.
You're gonna be mad. B.Dot, I have to. Like, okay, so you gotta realize, B.Dot, for the past 3 years, before I got this spot, I was basically living in a hotel for like 5 months at a time. So it's like living in a hotel for 5 months, you know, go on tour for the rest of the year, come back. You know what I mean? That's like, okay, we do 444, then we go on a 444 tour. We come back, we record, we do another album. We come back, we record, we do Everything Is Love. Like, it's back and forth. So I was like, yo, like, this hotel is expensive, bro. Like, it's and I didn't have, you know, a kitchen. I didn't have, you know, be able to wash my clothes. I got to go to a laundromat. I got to do, you know, that whole thing. And for me, I'm at the tail end, bro. You know what I'm saying? My daughter graduated. My second daughter's out in the world doing what she's doing. They both done moved out of the house. You know, I'm at the tail end now. Like, my 16-year-olds, they you know, I got 2 more years and then they're going to be in school. So it's just like, everybody getting mad because all the New York people moving to LA, at least industry-wise, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Everybody moving, bro. Everything moving out here. For me, you know why it's directly personal. You know what I'm saying? When my homie move, I'm like, yo, I gotta be out here. And it's that thing of like, I could be at the crib, but he like, yo, I need you tomorrow. Get on the plane. Like that sort of thing. So I was just like, all right, I might as well just get my spot out here.
Then you're gonna maybe pack a U-Haul and move out west now.
I'm never giving up my spot in the East. You know what I'm saying? I'm never doing that. But I'm definitely about to be like bi-coastal and plant the seeds out here. And you know, that's what it is, man. Work requires it.
And when you bring all this stuff from the east to the west, all the lame knits and plaques, we gotta do this one more time.
I've been trying to figure it out too, and I'm gonna figure out like the main thing is the records, man. How I'm gonna get the records up. I'm gonna have to, you know what I mean? I'm gonna have to basically rent a 18-wheeler. You know what I mean? My cousin. No, I'm serious. Like my cousin, you know what I mean? He's in that world of like the CDL dudes and the dudes that do that. So I'm like, should I go through a company or should I just hire my man and give him this money to drive this across country? But I'm gonna basically need an 18-wheeler to bring my record collection, like the collection over here. There's no way I could do it in a U-Haul.
How many records do you have?
Bro, to be honest with you, that's a weird question. When people, I always say this, B.Dot, when people be like, yo, I got 20,000 records, I'm like, bro, you counted your records? Like you sat there and counted? I have no idea. Like, to be honest with you, I just have a lot of records. Like, I have no idea how many thousands of records I have. Like, it's just it's just years and years and years of digging, and you know what I mean? Like, that's that's the thing I've always been into. Now, you know, the big thing now is the 45 game for us. Yeah. You know, that thing is a huge thing. So that's the main, like, I've been, you know, getting the 45s together out here. I just scored a big thing in Jamaica of a bunch of 45s. So now I can show you that. Yeah, this is the.
Do you have the one that Jay's was signing to everybody? What he did?
I definitely have that one, but it's at the crib. But yeah, but that was another ill thing because it was just like us doing it for the culture. I was just like, yo, like, let's do the 45s. And he was like, all right, well, let's do 44 of them. So the problem was, how I'm gonna give out 44? I know hundreds of DJs. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and it was a reggae 45. So I'm just like, yo, we gotta show a lot of love. And I'm a huge Clash fan. Like, I love reggae sound systems, like traditional reggae sound from the beginning to now, especially like during that 90s time, you know what I'm saying? Like, so big, like, so it was like me trying to figure out I got to give them half of them to the sound systems and then another half to like legendary DJs and things like that. But like, you know, the 45 game is just something that I'm just into. So it's just like, I scored all of these from Jamaica. So it's just like a lot of like reggae stuff, but a lot of like hip hop stuff that's like wasn't pressed. And you know, in Jamaica they just get busy. Like they'll take all the hip hop. They'll take all the hip hop and just press their own joints. So I found, you know, through one of my record diggers out here, shout out to my brother Endo. He was like, "Goo, I just hit a score." So I'm like, "Yeah, tell homie I want the whole thing. Just price out we ain't even got to break it up. Just tell him I want everything and just send it all over." Yeah.
Rich talk. Yo, Goo, before we get out of here too, I know we just celebrated the 2nd year anniversary of Everything Is Love, and to me, it's like one of the. I want to call it a classic. I feel like it is. But
I feel like it is.
It doesn't seem like it doesn't get the love that it really truly deserves. Why do you think that is?
You think so? You think it don't
about
get love?
Reflection, I feel like it doesn't get it's not celebrated enough amongst the canon of Jay-Z and Beyonce records.
I don't know. I think it does. Everybody that you know, for me, people, and this is not the like, yo, everybody comes up to you and tell you it's real. I'm talking about my barbershop, like where people have.
Shout out to Elliot Wilson in the check-in, of course.
Shout out to Elliot Wilson. Yeah, to me, it's a classic. Like I love that record. I love that being the end of almost like a trilogy. You know what I mean? Like if you look at Lemonade 444, and then Everything Is Love is a trilogy. To me, it's just a perfect bookend to that thing. It was like, you know, Beyonce's album, what she was going through, Jay's vulnerability, you know what I mean, and being able to talk about those subjects, and not just that subject, you know what I mean, but everything vulnerable in his life at that moment on 444, which I don't got to rehash it if people didn't watch it. You know, he explains it perfectly in y'all interview, you know what I mean, when y'all was at the Soul House out here. Of what that album meant. So then Everything Is Love is sort of that thing of like, okay, we back together, we doing this thing, and for it to be a tour of that magnitude after that, the album to me is incredible. Just the way it was put together, the subject matter, the like, just the process of it for me was dope, man. We was already had to, of course, this is a tour with Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole other level of preparation that I don't know if people have.
Right.
That appreciation for how much, you know, in preparation is there. So we flew overseas into France and rehearsed for a month before we even did the tour, right? Because there's a lot bigger things you got to get together versus like us. We do visual things and we do cues and we do musical things, but as a, you know, it's a rapper and an R&B singer versus like with Jay, it's like, okay, a couple outfit changes, you know what I mean? And figure out how he gonna look and what we're gonna put on the screen. With her, you gotta incorporate the dancers, the lighting, the lighting has to hit specific points. So
it's the whole production.
Yeah. But while we were doing that, what was so ill is that we're actually creating the album as we're doing rehearsals. So we set up all these like, you know, imagine a regular stadium where you got the superliner joints. Like you've been in them a million times. The superliners where it's like you can have the sliding door and then you can look at the basketball game, but you in the thing where you can watch the TV, you got your drinks, you got your food, all of that. So we was taking each of those and giving them to different producers, different writers. You know, Jay had his own room where I'm at. You know what I mean? That whole thing of like setting up speakers, microphones, you know, just enough for the people to be able to produce, you know, cut demos, come up with ideas, and that's basically how we created the album. Like all his vocals was cut in a untreated open room with that same gray box that I'm showing you. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting up just the screen around the microphone, but it's literally like go downstairs, do you approve of this, you know what I mean, way that the show looks? Okay, cool. I'm gonna go upstairs. Can y'all be quiet for 10 minutes downstairs? Me calling downstairs like, yo, he about to record. And then he knocks out a verse. Okay, y'all can continue practice. Boom. That's how it did. The thing of where Jay was like, he looked at me. It was crazy because they said what day we was going to put. We never said when we was going to put it out to me, right? So he looks at me and was like, okay, we're going to put it out on this day. And I'm like, Jay, how are we going to mix all these records and get this done or whatever? He like, get it done. So he goes, Goo, you're going to have to miss 2 shows. So I'm like, I get it. He's like, go now. This is now when you break from the tour. Then, you know, I'm making phone calls. I'm calling, you know what I mean, certain engineers. And then B's team is calling certain engineers. So it's like everybody agrees. So we bring in Tony Maserati, who's like one of my, you know, mentors and like a mixing god, right? Then we got Stu, who, you know what I mean, who's Beyonce's engineer. Then I'm calling like Leslie Brathwaite, who does a bunch of stuff in Atlanta, and just, you know, big guys. I'm like, yo, Leslie, like, can you come? He's like, perfect. And just all of those things. I call a bunch of people, but, you know, people was working before, and they was like, oh, I can't do it before I told them what it was. Because I can't just be like, yo, we working on this album. I got to be like, are you available? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just like me making those phone calls, trying to get people up there. We all depart, go to London, and then we had this huge mix session in London where, like, I'm at one studio, Tony Maserati's at another studio, another engineer, and then like say Cool and Dre is over here with me mixing this record, then they got to bounce over to this studio, we're gonna go listen to this mix. Like the whole process of it was fun, and we literally like were down to the wire, bro. Like when I say down to the wire, like I'm in the show, right? So I'm like in this process where like, okay, it's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I got to start putting my show clothes on, but I'm standing with Stu. Stu has the whole setup in the dressing room, like a room next to like a immediate room of their dressing room. So we're going over, like he's getting masters back and we're reviewing the masters. We're listening to him or whatever. And then Jay is listening. He looks at me and he's just like, yo, tell Damo go grab his bass and come in here. We're going to try bass on these 2 songs. And I'm like, now? So mind you, we're supposed to be putting the album out that night, right? It hits the thing that night. And we have a show. We're getting ready to go on stage in a show. Damo's bass is hooked up from rehearsal.
That's crazy.
So he's like, yo, Damo go grabs the bass. You know what I mean? That, again, that's why I need that little silver box, because it's like I need to be able to do it at the drop of a hat. But that's how, you know what I mean, up to the minute, like to the very last second, until mastering is totally done, the album's never finished. And it's just like that. It shows you how, when I say like this person shows you how great you could be by pushing you to do things. You know what I mean? Normally, if an artist said that to me, like as I'm getting the masters back, I'm like, yo, we should have been did this. But it's like, you're not going to tell Jay no. And it shows you that ideas, you know what I mean? He never settles. He's always like, how can it be better? Sort of thing. But that's our job, is to get it done in that time period. So those things are the things I think about when I think about Everything Is Love and how good the album is.
That was a great album.
Just that experience of like, you got to remember, Tony Maserati is who Chucky is bringing me up when I'm doing Bad Boy Records with Chucky. You know what I mean? Chucky's in DC. So when he would come to New York, he would make it a point to be like, you got to fly my engineer up with me. It's a package deal. He comes with me, sort of thing. And he was the first person to ever put me in a room with Tony Maserati back when he was killing all the Bad Boy mixes, and was like, Goo, learn everything he knows. Learn from him. Like sat me. So for him to be one of my first instructors, but to now have a project where we're working and mixing different records, but I have the ability to take my mix to like my mentor and be like, yo, play it. What you think about this before I finalize it? Those type of things are invaluable. You know what I mean? Like having him make comments on the things I'm doing or Stu's doing, like those things are just like memories that you'll never forget. And then it's just like, okay, now I'm back to DJing the show. You know what I mean? Like it's just, that's why those things are monumental, bro. Like, so I personally love the album. I think it's great selections of going to different places musically, you know what I'm saying, and how that represents, you know, what the show was about, and seeing that physically, the mashup of the way we did the songs in the show, I think was just incredible. I think Jay and B are great at sequencing as much as they're great artists. You know, Jay's great at sequencing just his own music, but you know, there's no way you would come to the Everything Is Love show and not see that there is an immense amount of thought put into how these songs, because we weren't just like, this song cuts off and then this song comes on. It was like, how can we blend this Beyonce song into this Jay-Z song musically? and then visually, how do we represent? And I just bow down to like her genius. Like she's a genius when it comes to that, bro. Like a genius.
Yeah, Beyonce's a beast, man. She's a bully and a beast.
A genius. Like you can't take that lightly. You can't take it lightly when Hov do it either. Like it's just, we present him with certain things. Like he'll send me and Omar a list of like, this is what's in the show. And we kind of like sit there and try to figure out like certain things, but it's all his decision of like, this thing goes into this thing. And he'll be like, yo, this thing goes into this thing. We play it. And then he's like, nah, that don't really work. Move it. It's a work in progress. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. The artists need to know that. They need to know like Jay comes to every rehearsal, because I see a lot of rappers that don't go to their rehearsal, and just be like, rehearsal, like what I need to, but it's like, it's
practice.
Yeah, but the rehearsal is not only just for you, it's for the people that work for you too as well. We're lucky enough to be in a situation where we've designed it to where like our front of house guy understands the music. You know what I'm saying? Our in-ear guy, the guy that's mixing what we're hearing in our ears on the side, he understands our music. A lot of time hip hop groups, when they get to that level, or not just groups, but just individuals, right? They'll go from club level, like where they doing regular clubs, and that's cool if you just got like your DJ and you running back and forth on the stage and that's just your show. You ain't got no lights involved. There's no, nothing behind you. It's no projectors, none of that. But as you move up, you're going to have to get into this position to make your show bigger. Like, what are you going to do? Be ready for when the thing happens. What happens if Drake goes, yo, I want you to be the opening act on my thing, the way, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, are you prepared for that? Are you prepared? Now you're getting a lighting guy that does not know your songs. Now you're getting a musical engineer that don't know your songs. Now you're getting, and these people are freestyle. You have to come to rehearsal in order to show this person, no, here's where the hit is supposed to be. Here's when the light's supposed to hit on me. Here's what this song means. So here's some visuals that y'all can go grab to project on the screen while I'm rapping about this particular song. Like all of those things are the extra things that you're supposed to be putting into your career to take you to that next level. You see what I'm saying? And too many times I see artists that are just like, I rap really good. Like, that's it. Like, and I'm like, well, that's not going to be, I play basketball really good does not sustain you in the NBA. You got to know contracts. You got to know how to deal with the groupies. You got to be on time. You got to know how to work in a system. You may have come from one college system that worked this way and go play for another coach that worked that way, because now you ain't the main concentration on the team no more. Everybody was the shit in college. Now you in the NBA, you might be the third most important Again, this is all the things I'm saying. In order to take your career to the next level, you got to adapt to this environment. So a lot of times artists hold themselves back from hitting that next level, from not doing the extra things around it, sort of thing. Yeah. Right. Or people take for granted, like, somebody got to come up with these marketing schemes. Somebody got to think of these things. Or you could be in a way where it's like, yeah, I could come up with the idea, but I'm not going to execute the idea. So this is why you have the team around you that's like, okay, now we sat in the meeting. I showed you what my idea was for like an hour. Now the rest of y'all week is executing this idea. Right. You know what I mean? You find creative people around. That's the thing about like designing yourself. This again gets into what we're talking about now of how you can employ people and utilize your platform. And when we say this again, this word of end the systemic racism is just like, yo, like start to employ your people, but do it in the right way, right? Put the people that are there that know how to really do the job and don't do homeboy business. I've said this for years of I see this mistake over and over again because it's done from a good-hearted place. You are the person out of your crew, out of your family that has this. You ain't even made the money yet. It's just the opportunity to make the money, right? You got the hit song or when you in the height of that hit song, the money ain't hit you yet. You just did it. You know what I'm saying? You about to go do it. And it's even harder now because like that thing, if you get the hit record right now, that thing that really laced your pockets real fast ain't there no more, which means they can't go grab the $10,000 bag, you know what I'm saying, 7 times in 1 month. Like, it's like, okay, that's cut off. We can't go outside. So what does the artist do? Like those sort of things are now you're getting into what are the creative spaces that I need to be involved in? Who's the person that knows how to not only create the content, but create it in a way that is interesting or unique? Or maybe I don't know nobody. Maybe I need to do some homework and spend a little less time looking at gossip and bullshit online and start researching like, who are the real Google is your friend, bro. It is your friend. You can be very specific. You know what I'm saying? Where you could be like, young black college photographer, like whatever you want, young black college creator or whatever, and you'll start finding all these people, and it'll lead you down a rabbit hole. And be like, oh, I want to work with that person. and you could send them a DM and you could be straight up. Be like, yo, I just got this record. I don't know nothing about this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking to employ you. How much does it cost? And get into that thing. Even if that person's like, well, my price level is this way. So let me give you to the person I think could fit into your price range that's still going to be really dope or whatever. Right. And you got the connect now. So now when you do get the budget, you could rock with that person, or you could go, yo, I've this person rocked with me from this level and only charge me this. So now when I get the big budget, I'm going to bring them along and give them a chance because they have a creative vision and they know me better than the other person. So but all of this goes into like the difference between the people that are just here like that and the people that outwork other people. And a lot of times, you've seen this a million times, bro. People be like, how this person with like minimal talent is always winning? And I'm like, because they work.
Yeah, gotta work.
They work. They willing to do the things that you not willing to do because you sitting there with that attitude like, I'm the dopest MC. And that's why I'm like, you sound like the dude on West 4th. Like, oh, the NBAs can't see me. I'm like, they probably talent-wise, they probably can't. But it's the reason why he's in the NBA and you playing right here.
And you in a cage.
Or it just made me upset when I used to like have conversations with my peoples and we would be critiquing people we saw on TV, and I'd be like, yo, like, how you critiquing them and we sitting here trying to do the same shit?
Well, Drake has that line, bench. What did he say? Bench players talking like starters are hated. So
yeah, but you can analyze you can analyze it and to see like what ways do I need to move. But it's like, it's one thing if a fan is analyzing and critiquing, right? Just as a fan and being like, oh, I don't like this thing. This is why it didn't touch me, or this thing right here. But it's also, I'm talking about when people analyze other people's moves and they be like, yo, why they do that's corny, that's this. And I'm like, bro, like, it's something about what he did that got him on that television and while you sitting on your couch.
The clock is ticking, and literally and figuratively, Guru. I know we only got a couple more seconds left before the shit cuts off.
Yes, sir.
We can do this for hours on end. But in the meantime, I just want to thank you, Guru, for taking the time out, talking to me and all the people that was checking in.
My brother.
You can find you everywhere, man.
When I'm back around my collection, I will show you everything that I got in there, man.
We're going to do this again, Guru. Hopefully, I'm going to see you when I come out west when this corona shit is over. So
yeah, come through, man. Then. Come through.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Guru.
My brother. Respect.
All right.
Yes, sir. Love you, boy.
Love you too, man. There you have it, guys. Another episode in the can. Shout out to everybody that was checking in. I saw you, Mila, Najee, Raven, my nigga Dennis, everybody. Thanks for checking in. Till next week. I don't know who we're going to have. You never know. Appreciate everybody for the support. Make sure you subscribe, like, tell a friend, tell your neighbor. We out of here. Till next week. Shout out to my man Oscar. Thanks for that flyer, boy. Peace.